I just watched the 1980 movie called When Time Ran Out. It has Paul Newman, William Holden, Jacqueline Bisset, and Red Buttons, and a few other famous cast members. Of course, I forget who they are. I believe the actor who played Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid movies has a role in it as well. Basically, it's about this ritzy motel that is nearby a active volcano. And of course, like a lot of old disaster movies, it has the characters in peril with the impending doom of the disaster. Um, I thought this movie was okay for what it was. A lot of the budget went to location shots, so they didn't have a ton of money to go towards special effects, but I thought they were okay, for 1980. Um, Paul Newman said in his later years, he said, the volcano movie is what he called it. He said, I only did that movie for the paycheck. And pretty much everyone else who was on board knew it was just like a paycheck movie, that it probably wouldn't do very well in the theaters. And also, the movie had issues with William Holden, who sadly was suffering from alcoholism. During the shoot, he had to go to a sort of intervention, I want to say, for 6 days because he was causing issues with his alcoholism with production of the movie. This movie is pretty long. It's like I think it's almost 2 hours long. So you have this long build-up of getting to know the people staying at the hotel and the hotel staff and whatnot, and also people who are drilling for oil and trying to find a lot of money by drilling it. So you have several sets of characters who are basically pretty much cannon fodder, even though you do get to know them and whatnot, including the famous faces. I'm a huge fan of disaster movies. I love Earthquake. I love The Towering Inferno. Eli Roth's Aftershock. Geostorm, even though that movie's kind of corny. San Andreas. I guess to a certain degree, the current movie called Moonfall could be a disaster, people in peril type movie. These movies were very, very popular, and I feel like they kind of died out around the 80s, and then you started having more like made for TV movies like The Big One, Earthquake, and stuff like that, or different volcano disaster movies. Um, and interestingly enough, Steve McQueen was going to be in a sequel to The Towering Inferno, which never got off the ground. They bought the rights to the novel from the first movie. The first book that inspired The Towering Inferno and its sequel, although they never did the sequel, and Steve McQueen died around that time, and the movie was actually never made. You also have the Poseidon movies, you have the original, you have the remake, you have the sequel to the original, and you have the Hallmark version that often gets forgotten. I'm a huge fan of all those movies. I'm a sucker for disaster movies, and it's kind of cool they're becoming like more popular. Like I said, with like Aftershock and Geostorm, Into the Storm. The movie Twister is getting like some kind of new movie called Twisters, based on characters who are the children of the original characters. So, disaster movies always have a way of coming back, even though you think, they're going to be done. I feel like it's always ripe to make a disaster movie, including, popular actors signing up for it. Um, I guess they're still pretty popular because they keep making them. So that's it. That's my little rant about disaster movies. I love the older ones. I love some of the current ones, and I hope they keep making them. Even if they're corny, that's part of the fun of them. And of course, seeing people in peril and the effects and the build-up is a huge focus on why I think they're popular. So I'm going to wrap this up. I've been rambling for a long time. I hope you enjoyed the trivia and whatnot that I talked about in the movies. And I hope you watch some disaster movies soon because they're fun. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.